I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. A real pleasure to be able to speak to you today. Thanks a lot for taking the time. What I love most about this show is I think the fashion world is one of those that people, it's quite, there's a mystique about it. People maybe fantasize about it, but they don't really know what goes on behind closed doors. And this show gives us a bit of a peek. What was the appeal for you jumping on board? And how much did you know? How much did you have to kind of research and immerse yourself in this in order to play these characters?
I think they're profound characters. You know, they're about human suffering. And that is what I think we're both interested in. There's something that we come from theatre, so there's something that in the basics of it remind us maybe of Greek tragedy, of conflicts, family conflicts, complexes that you can have as a woman aging. Your breasts get too big, you don't fit into the clothes. You with a muse, you have to change, you have to be adaptable, but maybe the house is getting stale. You've got to be on the edge constantly, bring in ideas, but you'll never be a part of this aristocratic family. So there was a lot of, and maybe having a relationship with someone you're not supposed to have a relationship with, So there's a lot of contradictions and suffering going on in this series. Although we're talking about something that's supposed to beautify people, allow people to be different, to become a better version of themselves, the mechanisms inside are shattered sometimes. And I think being a muse or having been a muse is not a very comfortable position for a woman who feels indebted all her life to her Pygmalion, but then who later on has the power. And how is she going to deal with the power? Is she going to repeat the same thing, the same pattern? Or is she going to be a better version of what she's seen and recreate power within a young, hungry generation who are bringing in brilliant ideas, revolutionary ideas?
Well, I guess for your character as well, it's not based on a real person, it's a fictional character. So how did you kind of form that, I guess, not just only in his aesthetic, but what he maybe represents about, the past, the tradition, where the power used to be held, and the fact that he's now having to confront this new generation, times changing. How did you approach both the way he looks, but also the complexity of this character?
Designers are available in Paris. We live in the capital of fashion, and so you meet them eventually. I mean, if you are an actor, if you are living in Paris within the artistic world, you eventually will meet them. So then you can get your inspiration from them directly. What was important was the social aspect, and so therefore the fact that he is an aristocrat. And so I remembered very well the character of Hubert de Givenchy as a first initial image. But of course, that's an image from the 70s, and so I just combined many designers in my imagination. And then for me, the notion that it was about fashion or designers didn't really matter. It was more, as Amira was saying, it was more important to understand the power games, how he's holding onto his power, doesn't want to relinquish his power like in a play by Shakespeare, and also what the people might discover in the series, the audience could discover, is the connection between two powers and a bigger power, which is the financial power. So that's something that we never hear about because it's not as glamorous. You do not see the backdrop of the fashion glamour, and those companies kept on being bought and rebought, and it's very difficult for designers to survive within that world. And so this is what the series will show, is also the world of luxury and all of those companies. Very tough, competitive, nasty business.
But this is a family-run business, and I think they're trying to hold on. It's very difficult to be an inheritor, to inherit something. This is a family-run business that's been going for hundreds of years, from lace making, to clothes. So there's something to haute couture. So there's something where the family wants to absolutely hold on to and never let shareholders in, right? There's something where they have to hold on to what they have, Now,
there was one example in France of, when a big company wants to force another one to sell. It happened to Hermès, and in a way, the story is based on that. The shareholders and family members became tempted by the possibility of getting a lot of money from one.
When there are many people involved in a family business. People can have different needs and different interests, you know. And I think this is where the series is so interesting, is it brings family conflict into it, social conflict, family conflict, generation clashes. You know, this young designer, Paloma, coming in, we discover that she has a tie to Vincent, which we won't give away because it would be very dommage to give it away. We're damaging the series. We're going to hold on to that. But they're all tied intricately, sewn into each other in a very sometimes perverse way. And it's all about having to survive with this pain. There's a lot of having to survive. And at the end of the day, La Maison has to survive because it's about this heritage of this Maison that has to continue through time. And I think what's really interesting, and that no fashion series has ever dealt with, is that we're dealing with the problem of waste, ecology. What do you do with the unsold clothes, with the unsold lace? What do you do with it? And the recycling. So this is something that is very, very, very well designed in the series in a way, you know, because the young generation is coming in hungry, avid to change the world, you know, wanting such a huge revolution. And the older generation have to either grapple with it or, you know, come to terms with that, because there is that reality that we have to deal with, you know, because making lace needs water, you know, whatever. It's like making jeans, you know, that whole thing of recycling that is interesting. And the series deals with that, and that's where it's very, very different to other series that have been made about fashion. And it's about a family, isn't it? It's an invention. Is it? Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that with me, and huge congrats on the show. Can't wait for everyone else to see La Maison.
Thank
Merci.
you. Bye.